Hey guys, we're at PHC, one of my good customers, and they've allowed us to come in because they have a unique situation for us, side by side. Old versus new tech, an old fan, a new fan. We're gonna see which one performs the best. Let's go. All right guys, so we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison. Everything's on the table here. We're gonna show you exactly how we're setting up, so there's no confusion, no wondering what's up. Got a BAF over there, we got an advanced tech over here. Old, new, 20 years old, new. Gearbox, new. Here we go. 29 inches off the ground, we're gonna set up our pinwheels. These pinwheels are a visual demonstration, and it's gonna give you a little wow, a little fun, because you can see the air moving, right? Oh, I forgot to show you. Look at that, nice and free, nice and free. No hang-ups, smooth, baby. We're gonna watch them flow. Okay, so now that we got that set up, I'm gonna show you our distances. We're gonna be 20 feet increments from the center of the fan to the pinwheel. There's your 20, locked. I'm gonna get it in center. You can see we're probably just a tad closer, but we'll give the old tech the benefit of the doubt, right? Perfect. So 20, 40, 60. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab the anemometer. So not only you'll be able to see the evidence of air moving, we'll also be able to measure the air moving. Here's the control. Wake it up, turn it on. The reason these things start up so slowly is so they don't overamp. That's just normal. Variable frequency drives are protecting the motor. It's the same no matter which fans you're using. They're all running off of VFD, generally speaking. Gearbox on this one. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear the gearbox working. It's a little bit more noise with this technology. It's also a lot more upkeep on the long term. If you don't maintain the gearbox, it is going to fail. We know for a fact because we get asked to replace these regularly with the gearboxes, and we transfer over to the permanent magnet solution. Okay, so we've got our funnel of air straight down, not coming off sideways. I don't know if you knew this, but when you're out here past the wingspan by a foot or two, you're actually not feeling the air coming straight off the blade. Generally, your throw is a pretty even throw. It might spread a foot or two, but that's about it. You start to feel it when the liquid builds up, I'm sorry, the fluid builds up to a wall and then starts pushing out. So we're gonna go ahead and open up our hot wire anemometer, and we're gonna take some measurements. Now when we're right underneath the fan, we're kind of at the eye of the storm. And so, you know, we're under, it's bouncing between under 150, well there it bounced up, but then it's gonna drop back down. Sometimes these things get stuck and then they start reading again. So when you walked over here, it created some turbulence here, so that is probably creating a backdraft into it. Now we're 107, so it's all over the map really, which is pretty typical. This is a very turbulent area, and so it's very unpredictable what kind of air movement you're going to get. As we get past the blade pass, things really start to pick up and consistently pick up. We're in the 500s now. All of a sudden it drops down. There's a lot of turbulence going on right now. And now it's picking back up, which is interesting. It's interesting that there's so much turbulence. You wouldn't think that would be the case being right next to the fan like this. We'll see what the other fan does. So we're at 20 feet, pinwheel spinning. We'll get our anemometer down here next to the pinwheel. And you're gonna feel the pinwheel at 150 or so. It takes a minute for it to recal. So again, there's a lot of turbulence. It seems like what's happening with this blade design is you've got the 6 blades, and there's a lot of this happening with the air. It's pushing. Typically, you don't put more blades on a fan unless you're trying to get more pressure out of the fan. So more pressure, less flow. That pressure can sometimes push through things a little bit better. But the downside is it's not as balanced. You know, the flow is not as clean and 100% air. Whenever you mix pressure with air flow, the more pressure you develop, the less airflow you get. And so you're really trying to minimize how much pressure you're producing, and you just want to throw a lot of air out, which is one of the reasons I don't like this fan. So as we get to the 40-foot mark, now we're past some of that turbulence, and things are a little bit more consistent out here, and we tend to see that wall of air is kind of balanced out. Now our numbers are staying in the 3 digits, 200 to 300 feet per minute, and that's a good airflow. That feels good. This feels really good. It feels really consistent out here. You don't feel wakes of air coming at you. It's just this nice steady breeze. And that's really the goal of what you want, especially with no obstructions. As we get out to 60 feet, this is where we're barely spinning, and things are slowing down, but not too bad. Yeah, see there, we're dropping down, and you can start to feel it coming and going. There's an ebb and a flow to the air, and so we're basically past the effective zone for that fan. 60 feet is just a little bit too far for that particular fan. So that, I believe, concludes what we're running to talk about. What we do want to transfer or transition to is the other technology, which is newer, it's more advanced, completely different blade design, completely different blade count, completely different motor technology, and I think you're gonna be pleased with what you see. All right, guys, so we're here at the new tech. We're gonna compare it with the old, and we wanna make sure everything is set up exactly the same way. So we're gonna pull this out, 29 inches for our height. Okay. 29 inches here. Okay. 29 here. All right, and make sure they all spin free. Free enough. All right. Now we're 20 minutes from the middle of the fan, 20 minutes. Try 20 feet. Felt like 20 minutes walking over here. 20 feet. We're gonna get to the center of the fan. It's in line with the beam. Good there. Good here. Good here. Good there. Good. Let's grab the anemometer. Go turn it on. Get some measurements. I've already got it set to start up at max speed, just like the other one was. So we'll hit start. It'll crank itself up. Now remember, this is 3 blades, not 6 blades. So I'm really curious, how is this going to perform against that? The old tech versus the new. So again, under the eye of the storm, we're going to have a lot of turbulence. It's going to be all over the map based on what's happening when the air crashes here and then starts to build up and billow. All right, so as we start to walk out, we're going to see that what is interesting, I notice here, is I feel more of the air coming out, and I think that's because of the blade design. The old tech, it was just straight down. Here I can feel it pushing at an angle off of those blade tips, which are curved. It's a unique design on these blades, and it makes the throw spread out more so than the traditional airfoils. So as we get to the 20-foot mark, we see the pinwheels spinning, and it's pretty consistent. And once this thing calibrates and gets a constant air, again, there's some turbulence. So that is pretty consistent with what we experienced over there at the old technology. The gusts are pretty strong here. At the 40-foot mark, there definitely feels like more of a consistent wall of air here. And it's kind of right around that area where we know we're feeling it, 200 to 300 feet per minute. Again, a little bit of turbulence. And then as we get out here, I was curious, could 3 blades do what 6 blades does? And we don't see this spinning. And we notice our airspeed is under 100, which means you don't really feel it much. There's a slight little breeze that you can feel over here, little gusts, but not that consistent, strong breeze. As we get closer, let's split it about halfway. Here's the 10-foot mark right here. And you can see we're back over the 150. Well, we were, and it'll, I'm sure, bounce back up there again. There it is. Now, if we come down to the floor more, which I didn't do on the other one, but I would expect it to be a little bit more consistent near the floor. But we're really curious, how far out can we have that felt air at roughly knee to waist high, because that's where we are starting to feel it, especially in our arms. So I would say about 10 feet less distance spread versus the old tech. We have 3 less blades. We don't have a gearbox. We do have a VFD. So very similar results. I would say not quite as good as the 6 blade in terms of how much air was pushed out. But that's 3,500 and that's 5,000. So, and that's bottom of the barrel. And I have that same size fan with 6 blades that is scary how much air it puts out. So I'm very impressed with this 3 blade fan for the price point. Yeah, it didn't quite hit what that does, but that is a sweet spot. I thought that was an interesting test. How about you? Let us know. All right, guys, so I just want to summarize what we did today. We really got some honest information about the old technology versus the new technology. We found out that the old technology works well. It pushes, it's able to push through some stuff. It's got some more pressure when compared with the newer tech with half the amount of blades. And that's the thing that I'm really pleased with, actually, is we do have a 6 blade version of this new technology that I have experienced in the field, and it's kind of shocking how strong and how much air it puts out. Way more so than this old technology 6 blade. So the fact that we were able to get a 3 blade version of this, less powerful, doesn't have as big of a motor on it, so we're not spinning it as fast, and that's all because we're trying to hit a price point. That was within 10 feet of what that does, even with pressure. So it was a very interesting and eye-opening experience, and we're not blowing smoke. We're actually getting the facts. And the facts are, you can spend about 2/3 on something that's gonna do almost what that will. And if you wanna spend what that will, you'll get the 6 blade version of this that will absolutely blow your mind. And with all that said, I really appreciate my customer and being gracious enough to open up their facility and let us do a side-by-side comparison. There's not a lot of opportunities to do this, and so this was really cool and it was very much fun, and thanks for joining us. What do you think? What do you think? You saw, what do you think? I'm really curious, because the more feedback, the better for everybody, because then we can bounce it around and we can get the facts. Look forward to hearing from you.